So part two, part two to the video is, this is part two. Part two to the what? Part two to the come on, man. This is part two. Now, question. Are you more spiritual than an animal? You might be more religious than an animal, but you're not more spiritual than an animal. Meaning, are you more spiritual than an animal? Question. The animal does what? They connect with the forces of nature and within themselves to have these extra senses that we don't have. Like for instance, when a storm is getting ready to hit, the animal's gone. When the storm get ready to hit, we rely on the weatherman and some of us die. We rely on somebody else telling us to do something. The animals just get the fuck on out of Dodge. That's why don't shit be happening to them like that. Now, maybe some casualties with them, but animals have a better sense of going within themselves to figure out what's around them. That's spiritual. They use nature and something within themselves to figure out what's going on around them. So how can you be more spiritual than an animal when you're religious and you don't know what's going on around you, even with your own religion? Because that is the reason why shit is messed up. You gotta understand, something can make you feel good, but it's not making you spiritual. Spirituality comes from within. It don't come from nobody else, and it don't come from outside yourself. So how can you say you're more spiritual than an animal when a possum can walk past a raccoon? You ain't seeing a possum group up with 20 possums, and then 20 raccoons group up with 20 raccoons, and they have a possum and raccoon fight. A gang fight. Raccoons, we running it. They more intelligent. They just know survive, nigga. Eat, I gotta do this. You go over there, do your thing, this is what I do. So that's being more spiritual. On the other hand, you human and you religious and you still doing that shit. You saying God this and God that, but you going to kill, you going to do all this. True indeed, motherfuckers had it in their past. But when you start to wake up, you say to yourself, am I more spiritual than an animal, or I'm just a religious as hell? Because I'm religious as hell, but my savagery is still there. Then you ask yourself, am I more religious or more spiritual? When I'm going to talk to the pastor, am I more religious? And when I go to talk to a car salesman, am I more spiritual? Well, are you more spiritual when you go talk to the car salesman, or are you more spiritual when you go talk to the pastor? Ask yourself. No. You are more spiritual when you go talk to the car salesman. You know why? Because the spirit inside of you connects with the intellect in top of your head, and it say, look, that don't make no sense. You ain't finna sell me that car. This car ain't right. You checking out everything about the car. Checking out everything. Look at the car. Look what's going on under the hood, the car. You going to buy a house. You checking out everything. But when you go to the pastor, you ain't telling him where the book come from. Where does book come from? Who made it? Where did they get these ideas from? From what other place did they get it from, and then they put it in our face as something else? What is this happening? What is this going on? What is this? That's what you're supposed to do. Because that's being spiritual. That ain't being curious. That's your spirit wanting to know. But you lay your spirit down. You put your heart in front of your face and your emotion and your ego, and you attach your ego with what you think because somebody told you some shit, and then you feeling something. That's psychological shit. You ain't spiritual than the animal or when you go see the car salesman. You are religious as hell. That's what you are. You're religious as fuck, and you're not spiritual at all. Being spiritual is questioning the unknown, because the unknown is what runs everything. The unknown is what runs everything. Not some of the shit, everything. And you know why it runs everything? Because don't nobody want to know when it's dead in your face. You don't want to know. You're scared to know. What you think is spiritual, you think is demonic. What you see as spiritual, you think is demonic. And what you see religious is actually demonic. But I ain't gonna get on that. Because if it saved you from being a savage, that you was out there. See, my whole thing is, I'm not attacking the religious people like this. I'm attacking what they doing. And it's this. If you more spiritual than you are more than religious, you have questions all the time and you always trying to learn. Religious, you ain't trying to learn nothing. You just going with some shit and banking on it. You don't know. So basically, what I'm saying is, without good, it wouldn't be evil. And without evil, it wouldn't be good. But without good, it wouldn't be evil. Without truth, it wouldn't be a lie. Things have to exist. Evil has to exist because good exists. Dark have to exist because light exists. But it's all part of the same thing. And when you start to separate things, you start to divide things. And when you start to divide things, you then can slide in and conquer shit with chaos. And this is what's going on with people. I find it that most religious people, I ain't saying all of them, I'm saying religious. I ain't talking about spiritual. Religious people are irresponsible. I ain't saying all of them. And they're egotistical. And see, what happens is with the ego, once they was a savage in the street. Now they done got Jesus. So Jesus took a hold over the savagery, and it also took a hold to their ego. It ain't got to make sense. It ain't got to make sense. Now their ego has grabbed it like a parasite. So now, the moment you start spitting shit that makes sense to them, they're going to fight you with their ego and not go, man, this shit was taken from some other shit and it's controlling everything I think I'm doing today. But it was you that decided you wanted to change. You decided you wanted to change, whether it was Jesus, Allah, whatever. You knew that you wanted a change in your life. That thought by itself had nothing to do with no Jesus. It had nothing to do with no Allah. It was you that wanted to change. Why didn't you just focus on that instead of going somewhere else? You didn't know how to do it. Why you didn't just focus on that thing inside of you that wanted you to change? That's being spiritual. Because that thing inside of you that wanted you to change would never led you to a religion. And if it did, it would have woke you up from it because you know that there's some of that shit don't make sense. And then when you start doing history, you know that it was stolen and regurgitated in a wrong fashion to control you through slavery, means, and all of this other stuff. Truth be told. But your ego won't let it go because your savagery that you used to be has now took a hold to Jesus. And now, if you let Jesus go, your savagery gonna come back. Instead of not understanding the thought alone, you wanting to change your life is the thought that came from the God within. And it had nothing to do with that. The thought that you ever wanted to change in your life for the positive is that motherfucking real shit. But you didn't focus on that. You focused on something else. And then here we go with the blame game. Because they attached Jesus to their ego, then they attach the devil to their ego because Jesus and the devil is one and the same. People don't get that logic. I had to get into a video about that. So they attach that with their ego. And as the moment you say something that makes sense, that goes against something that don't make sense that they believe in, then they start to attack you with the ego or not even listen because the ego that they had being a savage is now this. And if they let that go, they're going to turn back to the savage. But it's all ego and psychological shit. When you know you wanted to change inside of you, it was you that wanted that change. So why don't you like yourself? Ask yourself this question. Why you hate you? And you got to give it to something that was made up. And it was made up. You know what I'm saying? But yet you want to give it to that because you hate yourself. Psychologically, you hate yourself. And then now you're saying, I ain't do this. So-and-so did it. I ain't do that. So-and-so did it. When something bad happened to you, oh, the devil did it. So if you eat too much and you eat the wrong food and you start having heart attacks, You gonna blame Satan, or you just gonna blame the fact that your ass shouldn't be eating that shit and you need to change your diet, which you don't want to do because you egotistical, hard-headed maniac. So you ain't gonna give up that shit you eating because you don't want to, and then you gonna adversely blame something else for the shit that you don't want to damn do. That's not taking responsibility. It's called not taking responsibility for every fucking thing that happens. If something bad happened and you know that if you wouldn't have done that, it wouldn't have happened, then it was you. It wasn't nobody else. It wasn't no devil and all this shit. It was you. So just say, man, I did this shit, man. It was all me. Fuck that. But instead, you got to blame something. And this is why it was there, to be the buffer. And your ego is attached to it. So now you're like, the devil made me do it. The devil got to get behind me. But if you wouldn't have been eating that shit, then it wouldn't have been no devil. It's just been God. But instead of you saying, look, I was eating that fucked up shit. I was drinking all that shit and I got drunk. I was motherfucking doing all this shit. I was an egotistical maniac about what I was doing. And then I attached Jesus to my ego. So I'm still kind of doing that shit. But I got an ego about Jesus with it now. So my ego is keeping me from realizing the truth, that I don't want to take responsibility for a goddamn thing. And that's what it is. And then you say, well, is there a God? Yes. But God is a German term. So is there a creator? Yeah. Is there a universal creator? Yeah. Do we know that? Well, whatever that universal creator is inside you. But you hate yourself. So you going somewhere else to get it, and you saying you spiritual. How? You're religious because it came from a book. Ask yourself this question. If there was no book, would you be religious? If there was never a book, would you be religious? If there was never a book, would you think you spiritual? Because you're thinking that. But if it was never a book, would you be religious? If it was no book at all, never, ever, ever, would you be religious? No, you wouldn't be. Then there will be a point where you would have to be spiritual because nobody's letting you evolve naturally to be spiritual because you're getting shit thrown in your face. Then you got all this other shit out here that people grip on to. And then when they decide they want to change, or when they decide they want to do this, they're attached to change because they were savage, what they consider savage. And now they got Jesus, and it made them feel better. Okay, it made you feel better. It made you change some things. But the fact that you wanted to change was what you should have focused on. The whole basic, essential thought that you wanted to change this yourself. Before you gripped on to this man called Jesus, before you gripped on to this Allah, before you gripped on to Judaism, you knew, hell, I need to change my life. Where did that thought come from? Did it come from within? I think it did. But then you instantly killed yourself and gave it to something else, religious. Instead of just kept going on with what you felt inside that you needed to change yourself first. Now when somebody come with some shit and tell you, hey, that shit is made up. Jesus, Joseph, and Mary is Asar, Aset, and Haru. Israel is Isis, Ra, and El. Egyptian shit. This is what it is. So then when you say, oh, it's not that, they say it's this. Who is they? And then if you having problems in your life, and you go see a Catholic priest, and you doing confessions to a man that ain't shit itself, and then you asking him something, and then he tell you something, and then you go out and say, well, I'll think about it. Then you go to work and you talk to somebody else that ain't even religious. They just talking to you, and through their experience in life, you ask them the same question about what you going through, and they shit make more sense. Now, who is spiritual? The guy you went and spoke confessions to, or the person that went through the shit that you actually went through and told you through experience what and what not to do? Who is more spiritual? The person that you talked to, that you went through, that they spirit spoke to you from within and said, hey, through my experience, this is what happened. That is the real shit. Not that motherfucker sitting there profiting off of your ass and making you look stupid and putting your energy out to something that don't even make sense, let alone exist. So the whole point is, if you want to question me about something, but yet you go and buying this car and you put more stock into asking a million questions about a fucking car that's supposed to be materialistic and you don't supposed to be worshiping no material shit, then you ain't asking more questions about that shit because you just want to feel good. And as long as things is going good in your life, you're going to keep on thinking. But when shit go fucked up, what is you going to do? You ain't going to think shit. Because you egotistical. Everything that's going on in your life is due to the fact that your energy is good energy. It goes out in the universe, it comes back, and you get good shit. When you fucked up, you get fucked up shit. It's just simple as that. So when you fucking up, you get fucked up shit. When you got a good family and you keeping your family together, you ain't got to be through no religion. It could just be because you keeping your family together. What's going to break that up? You going to break it up. Because if you keep it good, ain't nothing going to break it up. And you ain't got to be in nobody's pastor's face. Because what's going to keep it going is just the fact that you're doing great things positive. It has nothing to do with that. And you don't see that, hey, I'm doing this. The shit that I'm doing is putting in the work. If I don't do shit but sit here and don't put in no work into this shit, it won't work. So let's just be real about it. But people don't want to be real about it. They want to blame shit on everything else and go outside themselves and don't take responsibility for all the shit that's happening to them. They don't want to take the responsibility. They want to play, hey, devil, get behind me. You know what I say? I don't give a fuck. I don't fuck the devil and fuck that Jesus shit. Yeah, I ain't scared of none of that shit. Fuck both of that shit. Fuck that shit. That shit don't exist. Fuck that shit, nigga. That's what I'm saying. Nah, you know what I'm saying? Because look, I'm going to do what I do and I'm going to walk. And when my spirit leave my body, it's going to go to nothing like this place or no motherfucking hell because don't nobody know. Just like when they sit up there and say, no man should know the beginning. No man should know the end. And then you got people quoting Revelations. Motherfucker, you're not supposed to know the end. It says no man supposed should know it. So what I'm saying is the oxymoron, psychosis, dumbness, insane. But we live in an insane world. We've been taught insanity, so when insane shit happen, we think it's normal. There's no way you're supposed to know when the end is coming. There's no way you're supposed to know the signs. You know why? Because you're not supposed to know the end according to that, and you're not supposed to know the beginning. But why? How come they telling you what happened in the beginning? You're not supposed to know the beginning, or you're not supposed to know the end. No man should know the beginning. No man should know the end. But yet, people know the beginning, and they think they know the end. And the end ain't nothing but them fucking Illuminati people y'all call Illuminati making that shit happen. So they looking in the book going, okay, we can control weather. We gonna make weather shit fucked up. They looking in the book going, okay, Trump, this one Trump, President Trump, he's a trumpet. That's one of them. Then they got the drills that Walmart using, and they sound like trumpets. So they using the book to bring forth reality, and you think it's God when it's man doing all this shit, just like it was a man that wrote that book. So let's keep it real and ill. And they wouldn't have took these books out, the Gospel of Jasper, Enoch, and all these other books, the Gospel of Adam and all this other shit. It wouldn't have been taken out. And I don't give a damn what somebody's saying because their ego is attached behind something that they really don't know where it came from. Because they don't want to know where it came from because they're egotistical. And when you egotistical, you will never find out nothing. So like I said, animals are more spiritual than people because they know and they keep in tune with themselves. Because guess what? Animals love themselves. You don't see animals killing themselves, committing suicide, unless they got a hold of some poison and ate it and now they all fucked up. You don't see animals starting gang wars and shit over some fake ass money that was created by a punk ass Rockefeller and a goddamn Bilderberg and some Rothschild motherfuckers. Because really, for real, money is the distraction. Knowledge is the power. And anybody that knows when you become a Mason and you got to keep moving up on this Mason shit, you learning shit. You learning shit that you're not supposed to talk about. Because knowledge is power. Money is the distraction. And when you get up to a certain level with your money, then you're going to be asked to join certain things, to do certain things because knowledge is power. I know more than you, I'm duping your ass. I'm fooling your ass. And so I'm your God. That's what that means.